Star Wars: The Last Jedi was directed by Rian Johnson and stars a whole bunch of people and porgs. And it's about Rey, Finn, Poe, Luke, Leia, Kylo, and a whole bunch of Star Wars folk on a big adventure. And that's all I'm going to say. You should just go see it. I'm not saying anything else. Joking aside, if you saw The Force Awakens, you know that it quite literally ended with a cliffhanger. Rey extending that lightsaber out to Luke and us wondering what he's going to do with it. This film answers that question and a lot of other questions and has a lot of fun doing it, and I had a blast watching The Last Jedi. This is a really, really damn entertaining Star Wars movie and one with a unique voice. Rian Johnson is able to direct this film and please, I'm sure, the vast majority of Star Wars fans, but his voice is not lost in the shuffle. I've seen all of his films. I've been a fan of his ever since Brick. That was one of the very first movies on my channel that I gave an A+ to, my highest rating. The vision that he has shown in films like Brick and Looper and even The Brothers Bloom is very much so present here. He has a great knack for filming terrific action sequences, and his voice and his humor are ever present in this film. It's a very funny movie, just like The Force Awakens was, a lot of great jokes, and none of them feel like they're at the expense of the characters. It doesn't feel like they're referencing things either, just to reference them. Sure, there are winks and nods and references, but to ask the 8th film in a saga to act like the others didn't even exist, I think is unfair. But the fan service in The Last Jedi does not come at an expense to the story. It doesn't feel like a throwaway moment like in Rogue One where we saw C-3PO just going, "Oh, yes, I'm in this movie because I'm in every Star Wars movie and we couldn't have it not be in this." It doesn't feel like the fan service in The Last Jedi is there because, oh yay, I remember that Star Wars thing. Johnson's love for Star Wars and for these characters shines through, but also ways that he questions certain things that have become established in Star Wars. I'll talk more about this in my spoiler review, but the film does bring up things about previous Star Wars stories and asks questions that I think people walking into this universe, like our new characters, would logically want to know about. And the film has a surprising way of exploring these questions. Let's talk a little bit about the performances. Daisy Ridley, once again, is proving to be an excellent choice as Rey. She's terrific in the action sequences and the dramatic stuff. She's an incredible actress. John Boyega, once again, amazing as Finn. Oh boy, let's talk about Carrie Fisher. This was tough. This was really hard for me, actually, because she was kind of a childhood hero of mine. And, of course, when she passed away, this was one of the real celebrity deaths that actually kind of affected me, and it was tough seeing her in this film, but I think they did a great job with her character, and it has some truly satisfying moments, and it was really nice to see her on screen, and she was great in this movie. Mark Hamill is the best he has ever been as Luke Skywalker, and this is easily his best performance. He is magnificent in this film. Every single scene with him was awesome. He was really, really good. This is a character, as I said, dealing with quite a bit. Obviously, he has secluded himself on this island, and so some history has led to that. And the exploration of that in this film was wonderful. Hamill, you really knocked it out of the park. You gave me everything I wanted in a Luke Skywalker, and everything I didn't know I wanted. I'm sure, as a lot of you know, he has said that he was kind of surprised by the direction Rian Johnson took, and I can see why, and it definitely paid off, I think. This is a very unique vision, and that's what I'll say for now until the spoiler review. This is definitely different when it comes to his character. Johnson has also done something with the action sequences, in particular anything involving a lightsaber, that I have wanted forever. My favorite shots in any lightsaber battles are always the head-to-toe wides. The beautiful Grandmaster shots that feature our heroes and you can see their entire body, the choreography, and it just feels incredibly epic. The lightsaber sequences in this film have some of the most beautiful wide shots I have ever seen. It's very apparent how much Rian Johnson has been inspired by Japanese films, by samurai films, anime. It all feels very much so like the Jedi are almost samurai, and if I'm wrong and that wasn't what he was going for, that's what I saw. and some of the imagery here is gorgeous. The action sequences are some of my favorite that I've seen in a Star Wars movie. They're really, really good. Adam Driver as Kylo Ren continues to be very compelling, a terrific performance. He in Force Awakens, I thought, was a very conflicted and deep character, not your average villain. He wasn't done yet. He wasn't fully trained. He wasn't ready. He had angry, deep-seated emotion that really shone through in his work, and he is amazing here. And this film continues to deepen Kylo Ren's legacy in ways that I cannot wait to talk about in the spoiler review. Really satisfied with everything they did in this movie with every major character. Oscar Isaac is once again amazing as Poe, such a likable presence. Let's talk about Finn and Rose, because this leads me into my issues with The Last Jedi. There's a storyline here that involves these characters, Finn and Rose, that feels like an extended short film. Almost like the movie just stops and becomes something else. Something else I didn't really enjoy all that much. It's a sequence on another world that feels almost too much like Earth. This place they go just did not feel like a galaxy far, far away. It felt like a place you might see here on Earth, just with a few more exotic creatures. But it wasn't just the setting. It was the fact that it basically screeched the story to a halt. And every time it cut back to them, I was like, okay, is this going to get more interesting here? Is this going to get better? It reminded me of in the Phantom Menace documentary when George Lucas had just seen the Phantom Menace for the first time, and you see him sitting there in the theater agonizing over the fact that he can't remove anything because it all connects. And he's just kind of like, oh boy. Well, Rick, what do we do? I can't really remove any of that stuff because it all interweaves. Oh boy. You know, a special effect without a story is a pretty boring thing, Rick, you know? Oh boy. Jar Jar's the key to all of this. Jokes aside, this sequence with Finn and Rose, it's just too far along, and the things that they have to do, sure, it affects the plot later, but there just should have been an easier and quicker way to do some of these things, because it feels like a detour, an unnecessary detour. It reminded me of in Avengers Age of Ultron when Thor goes off looking for that pool. You're just like, what? All right. Unfortunately, this sequence is necessary to set up some things that you're supposed to care about later, and I just didn't. We'll talk more about that in the spoiler review, but that is my one major issue with The Last Jedi. That 20 to 30 minutes that are combined, this Finn storyline. Now, obviously, it's not just a 30-minute chunk of the movie. It's spread out over the film. But it's one of those things, like I said, where you're going back to this place and you're like, this could be better. Pushing all that aside, I honestly love The Last Jedi. I had a really great time with this movie. I think it has some of the best action sequences in the entire saga. It has some of the best performances in the entire saga. It has a compelling and conflicted villain. And it has tons of surprises. There are a lot of things that happen I did not expect. I'm not the type of person who likes to go in speculating, though, so that could be different for you. I don't like to sit here and make up theories and guess and try to predict things. I like to go in just like, I can't wait to experience this. I also like John Williams' score this time around more than I did for The Force Awakens. His music, of course, is always going to be really good, but his score for The Force Awakens was one of my least favorites. It just felt a little rushed. This one feels better. It's like he had more time. Let's talk about Porgs real quick. They're adorable. They're amazing, and they're not annoying. Thank God. Captain Tarples. Never forget. BB-8 once again has a lot of moments to shine. Chewie does as well, as does the Millennium Falcon. Some really awesome Millennium Falcon sequences. I honestly love this film. I don't know about where it stands for me with The Force Awakens. I'm going to see it again. I'm going to see it this Thursday. We'll do a spoiler review. After that, I think I'll be able to give you my official ranking of where this fits in, but it is a damn good Star Wars movie. There are a lot of emotional moments that I am looking forward to talking to you more about in the spoiler review. If this review seems a little vague, it's because I feel like that's what you would prefer. We'll talk more about that after the film is released, but rest assured, this movie made me really happy. I'm going to give The Last Jedi an A-. Definitely better than Rogue One. I had characters that I actually cared about, a story that felt like it was beginning, middle, and end made by one person. It didn't feel like an assembly line product. It didn't feel like another movie we've already seen. It's structurally its own thing. Sure, there are a few little beats here and there where you might be like, I've seen that before, I've seen that before. But this is definitely made by somebody with a unique voice, Rian Johnson, and I think he did a damn good job. I'm looking forward to seeing it again. I can't wait for you guys to see it. Thank you so much, as always, for watching, and if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.